recording this. Sabrina will be turning on recording here shortly, and so we will be able to send that out. We'll also send you guys a copy of that recording so that you can share that with whomever you need to share that with. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. It looks like we had one more person join us. Thank you so much. Today we are going to be talking about Totara 2.7 graphical reporting. This is something that has been a big buzz thing going around the Totara community. People are very excited about it, and I am very excited to tell you all about it today. But first, before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about Kenio. So we are a global learning and technology company. We provide learning solutions in compliance, onboarding, sales, product knowledge, leadership training, you name it, we probably do it. And we are very excited to work with you guys. We also have several different offices all across the globe here. So wherever you are, we are there, hopefully. Today I am joined by the lovely Susan Hurley as well as Sabrina Lease from Kenio. Susan is our Senior Implementation Specialist. Sabrina is our Marketing Director. And we are glad to join you today to answer any and all questions that you may have about graphical reporting. Susan is going to be answering some of your questions as they pop through. Feel free to use that questions area. That way you can get those questions answered however you need to. And you will be able to hear us and work through that. I will also try to keep up with those questions as well and answer those as I see them. But if I happen to miss it, know that Sabrina and Susan are on it. I want to ask real quick, Sabrina did ask the entire audience, how is my audio? Are you guys able to hear me? Am I cutting out at all? You can use the questions area to respond if you can't respond through the chat. Awesome, cool, fantastic. I'm getting reviews that it is perfect audio, and that is what we like to hear. If I ever do start cutting out or anything like that, feel free to let me know because I want to make sure that you're able to hear everything. So what we're going to go over today, we're going to do a tour of graphical reports. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as several different people. We've set up a hierarchical structure through positions on our demo site, and so we're going to log in all the way from the guy at the top all the way down to a learner. That way you can see how these reports, we're using the exact same report. I want to make sure that we make that clear at the very beginning. It is the exact same report, but because of the way we have our site structured, that report is going to change and it's going to alter itself based on who we're logged in as. So I really want to make sure that you're aware that it is the exact same report, and that is how powerful Totara can be, especially when using these graphical reports and especially when using your positions appropriately. And then finally what we'll do, we'll kind of go through and we'll be like, okay, now how did you do that? Because there are some gotchas to setting up these graphical reports, and I want to make sure that you're comfortable going through and setting these up on your own because they are really, really cool. So let's take a quick look right here so that you can kind of see what it is that we're going to be doing. We have Jimmy Crockett, our system manager, so I wanted to kind of give you an organizational structure here so that you can see our company. I want to keep you in mind that this is based on a fast food chain. So the structure of how one of those companies would work. It just gives you a really good broad idea of all of the different managers. So we've got Jimmy Crockett. He is our system manager, and he is over everyone. So he's going to be interested in, you know, how many people are enrolled in learning, what's going on, how many of his positions, who's active, who's hitting his site frequently. He's interested in those kinds of things, and we'll get to see that. Then we're going to jump down to Nicole Harris. She's a district manager. So she is over a district in, I believe what we have set up here is for Houston. Since that's where I'm from, I thought I'd use Houston. So she is our district manager in that area. And then we're going to jump down to Carolyn Reynolds. She's going to be a general manager in one of Nicole's stores. So she's over the general area there. Then we're going to jump down to Jack Graham. He's going to be a shift supervisor. And then finally, we're going to log in as Rose Torres. She is one of our frontline associates. So she's actually working in that store and working with customers face-to-face. So we're going to log in as each of those individuals today. That way you can kind of really get a good grasp of how all of that is working. So I'm going to drop that out of the way for just a minute. So I'm already logged into the site as Jimmy Crockett, and right now doesn't look like he's seeing a whole lot. But that's okay, because what we have done is we have set up customized dashboards based on who I am in the system. So I want you to pay attention up here as we move through. You'll notice up here at the top we see Administrator Dashboard. So that is what Jimmy is seeing on the site. He's not necessarily a site administrator for the entire Totara site, but he is an administrator as far as his ranking in the company. So he's getting to see these types of things. I'm going to go ahead and dock this navigation block as well as this administration block. Just going to kind of throw those off to the side. That way we can really get a good idea of what these reports look like. So right here, this particular report is building off of the site logs. So every time a learner logs into my site, I'm seeing that happen. This is one of the line graphs that is available in graphical reporting, and this is a really good use case for utilizing that line graph. So we'll see here that at the beginning we only had one person logging in, and then all of a sudden we launched a course. And up here we see that we had 18 users hit our site on 4/28, and then we had 18 log in on the 29th, and then our logging in kind of declined, and then it jumped back up. So this is just from, let's see, April 14th to today. So we're seeing this structure and this line graph alter and change every single day. We have this particular block, this is the graphical reporting block, we have it set up to refresh every 1 minute. So you can set these up to refresh every 1 minute, every hour, however often you want that one to refresh. But this particular one, it's important that it refreshes really frequently. So we're able to see the most recent data. You'll notice that I moved my legend out of the way, which is a really nice feature. I can move that around on the screen. One other cool thing, you can also dock these. So they'll throw off to the side so you can take a look at your other block. This particular one, since I'm Jimmy and I am interested in what is going on all the way across the board and all of my different districts and all of that good stuff, I want to know who has completed the courses that are on my site by their position. So I want to know how many people who are frontline associates, how many people who are assistant managers, who's cooks and food prep associates. I want to know how many of those people are actually getting in there, taking my courses, and completing it. Pablo, I see that you've asked a question. If you can see the amount of time that a user is logged in. On that particular report that we have set up, no. But there's probably a way to get in there and play around with that site logs report. We'll get in there and we'll see here in a minute how you can really dive into these reports a little bit more. So this particular one, when I mouse over the pie chart here, I'm able to see that I have 11 cooks and food prep associates that have completed some type of learning. It doesn't necessarily tell me what learning, but I know that they've completed something. So they've gone through and they've done what they were supposed to do. We can set this course as far as course completion. You can do it on program completion. So you can do lots of different things there. We've got our general manager. We've got 5 of those who have completed. You'll notice here that our legend is a little bit different than it was up top. One of the cool things about these graphical reports is you can get in here and you can really customize how this thing looks. So you can change the colors if you don't like the colors that are displaying. In my case, I didn't like that this block that the legend is, that it was white, so I couldn't see through it. And that kind of makes it difficult. So what I did, I went in, I customized it, and I made this transparent. So now I can move it around, I can still see who is what, and I can still see who's done what they were supposed to do. You also get a nice neat little link right here for the report itself. So at this point it also gives me data that I can actually download, things that I can use. I can download this in a PDF format, and what that's going to do, it's going to give me a really nice little piece of paper that has my pie chart up there and then all of the data that goes with it. So really, really nice feature there. Let's jump back out because I want to show you one more report that Jimmy's interested in. He is interested in the total of all users who have completed something, who have not started something, who are maybe in progress. And so I want to point out here, and let me make this a little bit larger so we can see it a little bit better. Down here at the bottom, we have named this course Face-to-Face. So that is the actual name of this course. I meant to go in there and change the name of the course, but I forgot. So we've got Face-to-Face. That is actually the name of that particular course. If you joined me last week, you know that we did a webinar on Face-to-Face. So we had a course with users that were doing things. So we pulled that data from that day. And then we also have another course, Face-to-Face Enrollment. And actually, I think the 2 users that are in there are some of the ones I showed you guys how they could jump into those courses using that. So we'll see here that we have 2 that are in progress and 2 that are not complete. So when you look at that, you think, okay, does that mean I have 4 users in that course? Or does that mean I have 2 users in that course? When you think about it, I'm in progress, so I'm not complete. So that means I only have 2 users at all enrolled in that particular course. Okay, so keep that in mind, that sometimes you're not complete and you're in progress. They're probably going to be kind of close at some point, or can be close at some point, until you actually get some completion in there. So let's jump over to this course. So this course, I see that I have 26 people who haven't started it yet. I have 4 who are in progress. I've got 16 who have completed it, and I've got 30 who they're just not complete at this point. So we'll see that that's kind of how that's going to work. So the 30 that are not complete at this point, that means that they've just hit the course. That's all they've done. They haven't really done anything in the course to declare them, quote, in progress. Okay, so hopefully that should help you guys there. Let's take a look down here at the bottom of the screen. So I see that I have 46 total users in the course. So that means that's 46 enrolled users. Now I want to point out something else here. I'm logged in as Jimmy Crockett. Remember, or I think that's his name, Jimmy Crockett. He's our main guy over everybody. There are not 46 users on this site. There's actually over 500 users on the site. Okay, so this is actually showing me enrolled learning, which, when you look at this, makes perfect sense because we're only seeing the courses. We're not seeing the entire site. Okay, so I just want to point that out and make you aware of that. So we do have our graphical data down here. Now, if I wanted to see something more and actually see who those users are, what you can do is you can create an additional report that is exactly the same as the report we just looked at, except take away that chart. And at that point, it's give you actual more detailed data. So now I can see who those individuals are, and then in this particular report, I have the ability to reorder it. So I can reorder it by is complete, and I can see who those people are, which store they're located at. I can see what their position is. I can reorder by any of these topics at the top. So that's a really nice feature for me there too. And then also, I can export that to an Excel format so I can do with it what I need to do. So really some cool things that you can do with reporting here. And I want you to kind of also keep in mind that this graphical reporting stuff, it's mainly for that at a glance kind of thing, that you can take a look at it and say, oh, wow, I've really got users who are active on my site. And then when you want that more detailed, more meat to that data, you can go in and just take away that chart and then kind of mess with your aggregation methods, maybe a smidge, and then you get this. So, and again, we will take a look at that, and we'll take a look at how that all works. Okay, so we've seen what Jimmy can see, and we're aware of everything that he has. I'm going to jump back over to his dashboard, so if we need to, we can come back and we can take a look at his information and see what he's got and maybe compare it against someone else if we need to. So next we're going to log in as Nicole Harris. Nicole Harris, remember, I believe she was our district manager, so she's just one step down. Let's take a look at her dashboard. And again, keep in mind, we did dashboards based on roles here. So you'll notice here that we've got dashboard, webinar for today, and then general manager and assistant manager, I believe. So that's what these people are going to be able to see. They're going to be able to see a little bit different of a report. So this was that last report that we looked at of Jimmy's reporting. But you're going to notice it's going to look a little bit different for Nicole. So she's only seeing one course. She's just seeing just the face-to-face course. She's not seeing that face-to-face enrollment course. She's not seeing that second piece. Why is that? So when you kind of think about that, okay, why is she not seeing that? Probably the reason she's not seeing it, she doesn't have any users enrolled in there. So it's not relevant to her at this point. As soon as those users start hitting that second course, this report is going to change for her. And again, we can set this one to refresh every 1 minute. We can set it to refresh every 3 minutes, a couple of hours, however often you want it to refresh, but you can set it where it will do that for her. And then she can also jump down into this report, and she can see this data here. And then also, I believe, she also has the non-graphical view as well, so she can take a look at who those users are, which one of her users are doing things. So she sees all of the people that are here. Keep in mind, this is going to be her direct reports as well as her indirect reports. Another thing I'd like to show you from Nicole's point of view is to take a look at her team. So what we've done is under the My Team tab, we've set it up where she can take a look at her direct and indirect reports. You don't have to set it up that way, but you can set it up. We wanted to see everybody, so we set it up direct and indirect reports. So she can come in here. She gets direct access, easy to click, easy to get to information about those learners. So she can come in here, and she's also seeing a lot of the same data here, but the graphical report and then the other report, that just kind of combines it all into nice one neat little package. But if she's got a question, she needs to contact somebody directly, this is a great place for her to come and do that. So those are going to be kind of the ones that she's going to see. She can also see the course completion by position. But in this particular case, we've set this one up where she can see everybody who's enrolled in learning. So she's going to see this one quite similarly to how Jimmy is seeing it. One of the great things about these graphical reports is you can anonymize things. So at this particular point in time, she sees that all these people are doing this, but she may not know if they actually report to her or not unless she looks at one of her other completion reports. And then she can kind of see where her people stack up against others. Okay, let's jump down one more level. So we're going to go into our general manager. Let me actually pull up my own report here so I can tell you who they are and what position they have. Might be kind of helpful for us all. So Nicole was our district manager. Now we're jumping down into our general manager. You'll notice that this general manager, she actually has learning. So she's got to get in there and actually participate in this learning. And so she would see some of those types of things show up as well. So let's take a quick look at what this looks like to her. She's only seeing 7 people, 5, 2, and 2. So again, we've got our in progress and is complete. So we're seeing all of these numbers here. She can also jump down into that report. It's going to look exactly the same. The main point I want to show you is that this gets very, very granular the further we go down. Okay, so the further we dig in, the closer we get to seeing more detailed data as far as who I am and who reports to me. All right, guys. So that is what she's seeing. She also has her My Team tab, and she can also see all of her 7 users. Okay, so she sees all of her users. Actually, she may have 9. I read that report wrong. She had 7, and then she had 2 that were complete. 7 that were in progress and 2 that were complete. Okay, so let's jump down to the next level. And I am going to quickly pop these out of our way, and we'll pull the other people up here. Let me get him over here. All right, so next we're going to log in as Jack Graham. He's going to be our ship supervisor. We're going to go into his dashboard. Okay, he's seeing things a little bit differently. Again, like I said in the beginning, this is the exact same report. I didn't have to build 5 different reports for these people to see. I just built one report told it who it could see under our content and our access tabs, told it who I wanted to be able to see it, and then boom, they're able to see it, which is really, really cool. Set up their dashboards, that way it's easy for them to access. Okay, so we're seeing he's got 3, 2, and 1, and he doesn't have another column because he doesn't have anybody who hasn't started yet. All right, let's jump over here as rows. So Rose sees that she's in progress. She's able to see here she's got to continue taking this learning before she can finish it. You can go take a look at her dashboard. Now you're going to notice that the dashboard changed because she is now an employee. She's not one of the other officials in the company. She's an employee, so she may not need to see exactly everything that everybody else is getting to see. So what we did for her, again, I'm going to dock these blocks over here. What we did for her is we just did number of users by position. So she's able to see how many users in the company and where she stands as far as the percentage of the company. So here, notice we're seeing much larger numbers. This is pulling the company as a whole. This is pulling everybody who has an account on my site. So I've got 216 frontline associates, 112 cooks, we've got 71 shift supervisors, 49 assistant managers, 35 general managers. So we're seeing the actual breakdown of the company by their position. So you can really break these reports down and really make them valuable to your users and just kind of give them a little bit of something to be aware of and to see. And again, this is anonymized, so she's not going to be able to tell who is what, but she just kind of gets a good idea of how many people are in those positions. All right, guys, let's go in now as an administrator, because I know you guys are just probably chomping at the bit to see how in the world we did this. I know I was. So I'm going to log out here and jump in as myself. So Susan was integral in helping me figure out all this stuff. We got in there and we started playing with this, and finally got everything figured out. But it's really a pretty cool process here. So if we take a look under Site Administration, and we're going to go to Reports, Report Builder, Manage Reports. I want to point out here, guys, it hasn't moved, and it's not a new piece of the puzzle as far as your administrative menu is concerned. Everything is just there and hunky-dory. So we're going to jump into Manage Reports. And then the ones that we're going to take a look at, we're going to take a look at these reports that we were looking at. Now you'll notice the first thing that is very important when building these reports is to give them a name that you know exactly what it is that you're looking at, because sometimes it's really easy to get in there and just name something test and then run a test on it, and then you can't remember exactly what it is, and then you have to view it, and it gets messy. So give it a good name. What you'll notice here is we have some of users complete, not started. We've got the same name, except here we said graphical. So this is the one that's going to pull the graph. This is the one that's just going to pull the raw data. So let's take a look. One thing I want to point out as well, that particular report, this was the column graph that we were seeing on everybody. This one is based on course completion. So that is going to be our source report that we're pulling from. You can give it a little description here. Nobody's really going to see it but you, but it may be helpful. So let's jump into the columns area. So that I can see this area better, I'm going to dock all of my blocks. That way we can see everything on one pretty page here. So the information that we were interested in was, is not started, is it in progress, is it complete, is it not complete, what was the course's name, and how are we going to group these users? How are we going to know how many users are where? So one thing that I want to point out is going to be our aggregation method. In order to build a graphical report, you have to tell it, okay, what do I want you to group, or what do I want you to aggregate off of? So we have our different little aggregation grouping area. We select what our columns are going to be, we select what our data is going to be, and then we tell it how to group that. So one thing that Susan and I ran into, if you look at this graphical area here, and you're wanting a total number of users, you may think, okay, I want to count those users. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how many users I have. So that's going to be your initial gut reaction to that. What we found is when you want a total, you need to get into, remember your math terms back from when you were in school. Sum equals total, right? So we need a sum here. So, but let me kind of explain to you what the difference is going to be between these, and we'll actually take a look at this report using the different aggregation methods. That way you can see how things really change based on the aggregation. So first, let's do a quick rundown of what some of these are. So you've got your average. It's going to be exactly what it sounds like. Then you've got your comma separated values. What that's going to do, it's going to give you a list of who those people are. It's not really going to be helpful for you when you're doing a graphical report. You've got your comma separated value without duplicates. So that's not going to duplicate names, which really probably may not be helpful for you because you may have 2 guys named John Smith. So you probably don't want to use that one for this. All right, so now the ones that are kind of confusing. Count. What that is going to do is it is just going to count the number of values in that column. It doesn't care what they are. So when we're talking completion, the values in that column are going to be, is it complete? Is it not complete? So yes or no. So you may end up with all 2s across the board or all 1s across the board because it's either it's one or the other. Okay? So it's going to count those, and we'll see how that changes. Our next one is going to be count unique. So that's going to be the, I'm sorry guys, I got that backwards. See, it's kind of confusing. Our count, that's going to count just the values in that column, and it doesn't care what they are. Count unique, that is the one that's going to pull just yeses or just nos. So that's going to give us our 2s across the board. And again, we'll take a look at this so that you can actually see that report in front of you. And then finally, we're going to kind of skip over maximum, minimum, and percentage. Percentage is helpful, especially if you're pulling a pie chart. In that pie chart, that's what I was using. And then sum. So sum is going to be your total. It's going to be how many users have done what. Okay, so let's actually take a look at that so that we can see exactly what's happening there. So I'm going to pull count, 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 count. And we're going to leave our users to count unique. Again, we're going to pull off of the user ID number. That way we know we're pulling individual users, and we're not pulling 2 John Smiths or anything like that. So it's a good idea to pull off of an ID number because we know that's for sure unique, and it's going to count those people as individuals. So I'm going to save my changes. And guys, looks like we're getting really close to time, so if you have to leave, I completely understand. Again, we're recording this. I apologize for going over, but we will, I want to make sure that we cover everything. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to view the report here. Okay, guys, so we're using count. So what it is doing is it's counting the total number of users in that course. Okay, so we knew that we had 46 earlier, but this is telling me I've got 46 not yet started, 46 in progress. It's really not giving me too good data here, and it's not giving me accurate data because how could they be doing all of those things at one time? We want to know exact counts, and it's also giving us the same thing all the way across the board here. So that's obviously not what we needed. So let's jump over and we'll switch it over to count unique, so that we can see this. Now keep in mind, count unique, the unique items here for this particular one, is it yes or is it no? So we're going to have 2s all the way across the bottom. I can almost bet you. So let's refresh this menu. Okay, we got 2s. 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, or 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, because they have done it. But, and there's 2 users, they have done it. So it's just counting 1 yes. And it's counting 1 yes, or two yeses here. Okay, so again, not very good data that we're pulling back. Because what we're interested in, again, is going to be that sum. So when we pull the sum, that is going to give us the total users that are doing this. So let's refresh that. And there we go. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the total number of users who have not started yet. We want a total number of users who are in progress, total number of users who are complete, and the total of users who are not complete at this point. Okay, so keep those things in mind when you're doing these kinds of reports, and just be aware of that as you're going through. Okay. All right, guys. So to save on time here, we're right at the hour. We will go ahead and wrap this up. Do you guys have any questions for me? And if you do have any questions, if I can't answer them right now, I'd be more than happy to follow up with you. We can do that definitely for sure. And I'm going to hang around for a while, so feel free. And Joe, I'm not sure if we answered your question, if I was able to answer it when we were explaining that. What is the report tool this uses? Microsoft reporting. It uses, let me take a look here, because it does actually tell me if I go in and edit the report. I think, you know what, I will follow up on that with you, Joe. I know what you're asking is what is it pulling from? It's actually pulling from an external report. I cannot remember off the top of my head what it's pulling from. I don't believe it's Microsoft reporting though, but I will follow up on you on that. Does anybody have any questions for me? And throw our PowerPoint back up here real quick. I want you to know we do have Justin Mole will be giving that webtastic. So please, when we were kind of building off of that report source, I would need to look and really dive into the reports. My gut reaction is going to be I don't think so, but I will gladly check and get back to you. Could you provide me with an email address? Because I noticed that your username is BSC, so I want to make sure I get it back, the answer to the correct person. Thank you, Pablo. We'll see you next time. And BSC, you can just go ahead and put that email address into the questions area of the person you would like me to get back to on that question.